Hello and welcome back to the Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP 2020 season for round 10. Today we are in Detroit for our third race of the season on US soil, and for the first time ever, the VGP drivers will be tackling Belle Isle. My name is Justin Sutton, and joining me as always, it's Chris Buxton.
Hello everybody, we are indeed in Michigan for this very tight and very bumpy circuit. These cars are going to struggle somewhat. Simon Kovacic, however, isn't struggling at the top of the table by a long way. Vizzy and Stefanko still holding on to that second and third. And then the Pachata brothers 4-5, Pastor, Kujela, Siratek, Matea and Rigel rounding out the top 10. Lots of clusters, even still at this late stage in the championship. Korony and Sedal 11-12, Vukulchik and Horror 13-14, Kosadik, Stepanovsky 15-16 with Kavarik, Sikora, Blazek and Korony rounding out those bottom tables. But again, still so close, even at the bottom of the table, still points and pride to play for, even at this stage.
In the Teams Championship, it is Logitech that continues to lead the way, but it is only by 7 points after the last race. Benzina right behind them in second position, looking to take that over today at Belle Isle. I would imagine Thrustmaster in third position, just over 50 points behind Benzina, with Lenovo Legion another 63 points back in fourth position.
So let's go over a few of the championship connotators. Mr. Kovacic could take the 2020 championship if he takes the win, but Eric Vizzy does not get the fastest lap. If he finishes second and Vizzy is fourth, and if he finishes third and Vizzy is fifth, and on and on and on. There are many connotations of the championship. He essentially has to score 5 more points than Eric Vizzy. Which, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and calculate all of the connotations. There are many. But, of course, Kovacic has been such a strong driving force. A win is all he's going to be targeting. And the pound seats are certainly with him.
For today's race, it is 3:40 in the afternoon. It is a 2.3 mile long circuit with a lap record of 1 minute and 10 seconds. That was in the Dallara DW12. It is 28 degrees air temperature, 36 degrees track temperature. So a little warm out there, but not too bad. It's not too bad. I don't think they'll have to worry too much about their tires.
No, I mean, we're not talking Bahrain levels. Kovacic again on the front row by 3/10 over Stefanko, Pastor and Pachata. Wow, decent effort from the Lenovo Legion car of Daniel Pastor on the second row. Very nice. Now then, Eric Vizzy down in fifth. That is not what he needs for his championship hopes. Costady, good effort for him in the TP Link car in sixth position. Further down, Kujela and Rigel round out row 5. Horror and Mateja in row 6. And we're only getting 1.5 seconds off the top spot by this point. Senol and Vukulchik on row 7. Korony and Kavarik in row 8. So these guys struggling a bit more in the qualifying. And Siratek, Stepanovsky, Korony and Sikora not setting representative lap times. They're going to be scrapping at the back of the field. Now this track is very bumpy. These cars are not going to like it. Depending on how they've gone for their setup, they may have had to sacrifice like some of the stiffness in the suspension to deal with the bumps. If not, they're going to be chucked around like baseballs. Here we go then. For the light, it is time to wind them up and let them wait for it. Oh, it's a big old hole. The engine revs are rising. It is time to let them go. Once again, a storming start from Kovacic as Stefanko falls into line, keeping him under pressure. Round turn 2 comes the Thrustmaster and Lenovo Legion car. That is very, very close. Oh, and that's Stefanko going for the lead. Now, slipstream is going to be useful in several key areas on this track. Cirytek doesn't quite get the lead though. Kovacic does manage to fend him off. Oh no, there's trouble for one of the Thrustmaster cars. That's Lucas Buxton that has been sent for a spin. Very well recovered though. That I mean, he could have been easily T-boned at that particular point. And that's Eric Vizzi still in amongst the traffic there. He hasn't gone anywhere. He's gained one and lost one. He's still in his starting position. That's Blaszek in the mogul car. So he's piling the pressure on. A bit of a gap for me behind 7. Oh, getting a bit fidgety. You can see how the cars are bouncing around already. You'll particularly notice it under braking. Oh, that's not a happy Autoscola Nope car. Kodiak already needing the pit lane.
Yeah, that's... Oh, and Blaszek goes for a spin as well, too. He does manage to keep it out of the barrier, though, and continues going, so no damage for the mogul car.
No!
Oh, God, he's got a Lenovo Legion, though, up ahead of him. That's found the barrier as well. Oh, here comes the ESET cars as well, too. There's a big shock in the background there as well that seems to be having some difficulties with their front wing as well. So, as we expected, with the barriers so close, and with this being such a different track as well, I can't say that I'm too surprised to see so many incidents here on the opening lap. A bit of carbon fiber being taken out of shape and being deformed and all that kind of stuff. You can see a fairly large gap has already started to form between Blaszek and Koreny, actually. About 5 seconds is what it's looking at, more like 4.5 seconds or thereabouts. But some pretty sizable gaps already starting to form, and we did kind of see that in qualifying as well. There was a space where there was about 0.8 of a second, something like 0.9 of a second. So it does seem that there are some definite speed differences, and I think that could be due to setup, as you mentioned before. You know, people may have found the right setup because of how bumpy this is, and that's going to help them and all that kind of thing. But yeah, clearly we're seeing some pretty big differences, but I'll tell you where we're not seeing a big difference. It's between Kovacic and Stefanko, because they are separated by less than 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at that. A quarter of the field having to pit at the end of lap 1. And this is exactly what I was on about. These cars don't like the bumps. And this track is packed full of them. It doesn't matter which car you watch. You look at them, even on the straight when they're under power, you see just that it's more highlighted in the tail when it bounces around. Kovacic's fastest lap, well, no one is ever surprised by that particular announcement. But he's just got it right, hasn't he? He's really focused on getting the combination right. It's paying off very nicely for him. Oh, that's a move. That's Blaszek. Oh, that's close. That's Kujela that he's having a go at the Logitech and mogul cars side by side. Nicely done. That was, Kujela knowing that move was done and allowing Blaszek up into 8th position. His luck did not hold for a second. And flipping over as well.
Oh no.
That was really unlucky. Whoa! And of course, look how much of the track he's blocking. He can't do anything. They don't have anything on self-righting mechanism. He needs one of those like Acme springs that pings out of the top of the car. But he's going to have to just return to the pits. That is likely to be his day done. Oh, what a shame for Blaszek. That first spin he had was a perfect pirouette. Keeping it out of the barrier was very impressive. As we see Cirytek in the ESET car losing that 11th spot to a recovering Lucas Buxton. But we're seeing, real steady drivers having all sorts of trouble. I mean, when was the last time you knew Blaszek retired before lap 2?
Yeah, it's certainly been a while. That's definitely not characteristic, as Kovacic picks up another fastest lap, continues to extend that gap as well to Stefanko. It is now 1.3 seconds. He's not that much faster as we ride on board with the TP-Link of Kostulik, and this is a great view, actually. It really gives a great sense of just how claustrophobic this circuit is. The barriers are very, very close, and they will bite you, as we've seen already. Again, we've got 5 cars in the pits. I think maybe 6 cars in the pits now, after Blaszek. Yeah, so it's looking that way, and I don't know about you, but I would be scared to push the push-to-pass button at this track. I mean, extra horsepower just sounds terrifying.
Yeah, I'd be terrified to be driving anywhere near this kind of speed, so I give all of these drivers absolute full credit for driving around these very, very narrow, what is essentially a street circuit. I think it's if I recall, it is a custom-built circuit, but it's got elements of like a national park, very much like Albert Park in Australia. Yes. Is a mixture of custom-built circuit with national park. So a lot of these, have, as you just saw there in that particular shot, as that's Vakulchik that's having an argument with the wall, and Lucas Buxton gains another position. Kovacic once again reminding us he is still out front. I don't think anybody needed reminding of that. Ooh, wow, and again in the background there you saw Seeker. Yeah, that was Jan Seeker in the Autoscola Nope car. the tail just misbehaving. Any time that these cars step out, it's just very much clench and hope that you can keep it under control. I still feel so sorry for Blaszczak. It's just, as his spin was coming to rest, the side tyre wall just gripped and over he went, and then he became a turtle. So that was just so unlucky for him. But we see a great fight here between the second Pichada brother, David Pichada, Pastor and Vizzy. This is not what Eric Vizzy needs. He now finds himself 5.5 seconds behind the leader. We just saw at the top of the shot there, Stefanko. He's 1.5 seconds behind Kovacic. And yet again, Kovacic is just doing what he needs to do. He's just getting into the front and extending that lead, just keeping himself out of trouble. And crucially, he's not under pressure. So he's not going to feel the need to push that little bit too hard. He's not going to feel the need to defend empty air or anything like that. He's once again just got it under control. So even with a couple of races to go after this one, you wouldn't blame him if he did take the championship. His consistency has just been unreal.
It really has. It's been surprising to watch. It really makes me wish, though, that we could have seen, Kovacic v. Schmidl. Something like that would have been absolutely fantastic. Now, also, I do have a little bit of insider knowledge about Martin Stefanko at Belle Isle here. He told me, "Oh, is that Kujela?"
Kujela in.
Oh, okay. Yep, Kujela in. That's a fairly early pit stop with 38 minutes still to go in the race. But yeah, I got a DM from Martin Stefanko on Twitter just last week, just telling me that he really did not have much time to practice for Belle Isle. Very similar to what happened at Circuit of the Americas, but he's running so well here today. After almost 10 minutes of racing, he's only a second and a half behind Kovacic, which is really impressive, considering that Kovacic is down in the 1:14.5s. I think was the last lap that we saw from him, an incredibly quick lap time. So Martin Stefanko, all things considered, doing an absolutely incredible job out there in second position. The only driver out there that's really putting any sort of pressure on Kovacic at all. Oh, and
Kovacic he's lost he's lost his nose. I was just thinking there was a slow car at the top of the shot.
Oh, no.
I was thinking for a minute he would lag. Well, Kovacic. I'm lost for words. He has it's taken a bumpy track that's killed a quarter of the field to finally give a chink in the armour of the mighty Kovacic. Oh my, and he's done that right after the pit lane entry. So he's got to do a whole lap missing a very significant amount of downforce. And downforce is quite important here. Keeping the car out of the wall is the most important part, obviously. But you've got several medium to high speed corners here where the downforce really does enact. So Martin Stefanko, he must be counting his lucky stars. Not practicing at Belle Isle is really risky.
Yeah.
Really risky. And he's just like, well, thanks. I'll put you on my Christmas card list.
And look at the gap that he has now, 3.5 seconds to David Pichada, who is still pretty close to Daniel Pastor. This is great news, obviously, for Eric Vizzy for the championship. So let's go on board with Kovacic as he goes into the right-hander. Oh, one of the cars up ahead, and he just, it's such a slow corner. You have very little downforce there, and the back end just stepping out on him, unfortunately. I think he just took the corner a little bit slower than he would have in order to avoid the car that was ahead. That meant he didn't quite have the downforce that he's used to having. The back end stepped out. He found one of the many barriers that are awaiting with open arms out on this circuit, and unfortunately that has meant that he needs a very early pit stop as well. Surely that means he's going to be out of it for, I would say, at least the top 5. Certainly the top 6 as it looks to me. You can see Corney with a pretty big gap to Senel. Corney in 7th position is about 8 seconds, and it's about another 8 seconds actually down to Lucas Pichada. So depending on whether this is reparable and how quickly it can be repaired and all of those kinds of things will determine really how much he can salvage here. Now the good news is he does have a huge, absolutely huge lead coming into this race, but I'll tell you who does not have a huge lead is Logitech. So with Benzina now having their drivers in 1st and 4th, that is absolutely huge for the team's championship. So it's not just the drivers' championship that this affects, but the team's championship too.
Yeah, Logitech 12th and 14th at the moment. Kujela's already been through the pits, so that's what put him far down the field. And again, just looking at how as we're riding on board with Pastor,
this view.
Just how he's having to fight that car, and he's still there. Kovacic may not actually return to the field.
No,
I'm just thinking Monza when he did that absolutely monstrous recovery drive in the team event when he took over the car from Kujela. He was miles behind the pack and still ended up overtaking people before the checker flag fell. I think even this is going to be too much. I mean, he's already a minute behind the field, 34 minutes to go. I can't see. He's already a lap down now, so he'll be blue flagged at every opportunity. As Siratek has now come in for the ESET team, as we continue to look at this amazing battle of David Brachada and we were. There it is again. David Brachada in the Thrustmaster car and Pastor in the Lenovo Legion car. Pastor doing a great job staying in the slipstream of David Brachada. Again, as mentioned, the downforce is quite crucial here. Of course, that's exactly what you don't have when you're running in the slipstream of another car. And he's been at that kind of gap, between 4 to 7 tenths of a second behind the Thrustmaster car for quite a while now. So he's doing a great job. Excellent. We get the VR look from Thomas Corney. Excellent stuff. Again, if you were to watch that for a while, you'll just see, again, you can see how much it's bouncing around. It's just coming over the line for turns 1 and 2. And those bumps are everywhere. But the biggest problem these drivers have is those bumps are in either traction zones or braking zones. That's really what caught Kovacic out as he was trying to maneuver around. I believe it was Thomas Horror in the Big Shot car. He was having his own issues. We see, I think that's Siratek in the ESET car that's getting... Yes, it was.
Yes.
It's getting out of the way. Again, I'm trying to have my eyes split apart like a frog to watch both the battles that we're now seeing and the amazing VR shot that we were seeing. But... that's what caught Kovacic out. He was distracted, probably slightly. Oh, good catch, sir. Give that man a baseball mitt. No, that was sign him up for. I don't know. You'll know who Detroit's baseball team is better than I will. But sign him up immediately because that was a great catch. But
that was impressive.
Yeah, the bumps would have caught Kovacic out. He's trying to avoid. He's trying to come offline to avoid horror. But he's gotten on the gas at the point when the rear wheels don't have enough traction and it's just pitched him into the wall. And it would seem that Kovacic is going to remain there for the rest of the race. It was a great, great shame. But David Brachada is probably aging quite a lot because he's fighting to keep the car under control. And he knows damn well Daniel Pastor's behind him. Although, as I've been saying that Daniel Pastor's done well, so is David Brachada because he's very slowly eking that gap out. It's just over a second now. Well, the championship prediction is I wouldn't say it's worthless at the moment, but it's now completely turned upside down from what we were thinking it was going to be, as Lucas Brachada for Thrustmaster now comes in.
Yeah, I have to say, heading into this, I was pretty confident that Kovacic was going to outscore Vizzy by 5 points. That was even before seeing the qualifying results, So
I'd have put $10 on that. I'd have put $10 on that.
Yeah. I mean, not life savings, but yeah, it's worth a small bet. Yeah, for sure. And I don't think many people would have argued with you on that one, but. I have to say I am really enjoying this little bit of a scrap. We're not seeing a whole lot of side-by-side action between David Brachada and Daniel Pastor, but it's got that tenseness to it, and that is because of the nature of the track and just how bumpy the circuit is. Just watching these guys navigate corner after corner around Belle Isle is alone quite impressive. I don't know how many of these drivers have driven Belle Isle before. This is my first time actually ever commentating on Belle Isle, so certainly I'm a little bit of a newbie to it. It looks to my eye that David Brachada has actually pulled out a little bit more of a gap on Daniel Pastor. We don't have the gap. Oh, no, yeah, it is. It's 1.2 seconds nearly. So he has pulled out just a little bit on the Lenovo Legion car. But I have to say, these have been two of my favorite drivers this season. The 2020 Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP season has been absolutely incredible. Possibly my favorite season ever. I don't know if it's the switch to iRacing. I don't know if this is the car choices, the drivers, the track choices, or just some sort of magical combination of all of the above. But it really has been something special to watch. And part of that, for me in particular, has been Daniel Pastor and Thrustmaster in general. Not just David Brachada, but Lucas Brachada as well. The Brachada brothers have really been something special to watch. And again, Daniel Pastor as well, one of my favorite drivers right now. Everybody knows I'm a huge Martin Stefankos fan. Again, I just have so much history with Martin Stefanko that spans so many different racing games and sim racing series and so on and so forth. I've done commentary with him. I've done commentating on him. I definitely consider Martin a friend. I will forever support whatever he decides to do with his life. But as far as the newcomers this year to my favorite drivers club, the Pachado brothers and Daniel Pastor definitely, and Eric Vizzi as well too. The job that he has done to bring this championship fight as far as he has, considering the dominance that we've seen from Kovacic, is awe-inspiring.
Oh yeah, no argument on any of those above points. I'm glad we're looking at this battle between Kostalik and Senol, because I was watching the timing screen as you were going through that, and I was thinking they're getting close. And here we go. So the Dexwin car is really closing in on the TP Link car. Now that the battle for second has kind of split up and settled down now. Oh, Senol's really under the rear wing of Kostalik now. It's going to be, oh no, again, not a very big straight there. So they work their way through. I'm not overly familiar with it. I have virtually been to this track before, but that was the end of the lap. Yeah, so that was now. Senol is now, he's very much tucked up under the rear wing. He needs a decent exit here. He wants the brakes over turn 3, which looks like he's what he's going for. Kostalik defending that inside line, forcing the Dexfin to go around the outside, and no, Senol can't get it done. Whilst there are 14 turns at this track, there's not that many big braking zones. But Senol's doing a great job of applying that pressure, and Kostalik is doing a great job of soaking it up.
Impressive stuff, especially considering you can see just a little bit of damage to Kostalik's wing. Well, a little is relative. It might look quite massive, actually, to some people, but it doesn't take much for that kind of deformation to happen to the front wing. So, I say little, but we don't actually know exactly what might have caused that. But he's definitely dealing with some front wing issues. Whereas Senol in the Dexfin, you can see his car is actually looking absolutely pristine, front and rear wings looking absolutely fantastic. Another great shot of the onboard. Love to see this view, especially at this circuit, because again, of the bumpiness and just how close the barriers are, it really gives you that sense, and you get that strobe effect as well too as you go underneath the trees as we start yet another lap into the right-hander at turn 1. Not really an overtaking location. Turn 3 is definitely going to be the primary overtaking location, which is he's going to be setting him up for. Now, Kostalik going to defend the inside line, no surprise there as they get into the braking zone. Senol is definitely going to have to be later on the brakes, or he's going to have to hope that Kostalik goes a little bit deep, maybe even clouts the barrier. Unfortunately, that hasn't worked out for him. But yeah, clearly, I think the Dexfin, it's a combination. Either Senol is faster, or just the lack of damage to that Dexfin car is allowing him to be that much faster, or it's a bit of the two. But certainly these two are very close. I would say Senol is clearly the faster of the two drivers, but Kostalik doing a great job hanging on.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the pair of elements where, prime examples, we just came into that slow right-hander. The Dexfin car was so much later on the brakes. It was turn 7, I think. Senol was able to reel Kostalik back in. Senol did make a bit of a mistake getting on the power at turn 6, I think, where the tail just got a little bit loose, and Kostalik had a great exit. So, that damage is hurting that TP Link car. It's really enabling Senol to keep in touch.
That's
someone in the pits. Yep. I've been caught out by that as well. I was also going to say that we can see in the background, or we could have seen, as Thomas Carney in the ESET car was closing in on them, but he came in as well. So there went that potential battle. Here is second, third, and fourth in that shot, and there is Carney coming into the pits. That's what it looks like from their perspective. We don't see the pit guys from our external perspective, but that is what the driver can look at, getting the indication to go, and away goes Carney under the pit lane speed limit, which feels horrid. You're so used to driving at 300 kilometers an hour or whatever the top is. Well, you won't get 300 kilometers an hour at this track. You won't get anywhere near it. But you would, but only once. You come to a very abrupt turn. It looks like Vizzy is actually closing back in on these two. I mean, Stefanko's got 7.3 seconds, or he did. He's just pitted now as we are hitting the halfway stage, and top 4 are all in, so lots of very similar ideas on pit strategy. Kostalik, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he came out. I'm surprised he hasn't been in already, because he's been carrying that for several laps. There he goes. He's just come into the pit now, but he'll be delayed. He'll almost certainly get that damage repaired. Lucas Pachada still trying to recover from his early spins in the Thrustmaster car, now very much on his own. He is about 7 seconds behind Thomas currently, as we now look at Stefanko with, that is Siratek in the ESET car, and he will come out. So there we go, we can see, although Kostalik was a bit later in the pits, he'll probably be in there for a while. I'm expecting him to drop quite a way through the field. The top four resuming their fight. Looks like Eric Vizzi lost, wow, he lost quite a bit of time. He wasn't 4 seconds behind Pastor before the pit starts. Pastor and Pachada roughly the same distance apart. Yeah, also Stefanko's lost a little bit of time, but then he's got time to lose. Stefanko doing, yeah, he's the wise veteran, isn't he? He's doing what he needs to do. He's exactly as what Kovacic would do. He's not pushing too hard. If he gets the fastest lap, well, wonderful, but he's not pushing for it. He's not feeling the need to maintain a gap to David Pachada behind him. He's just doing what he needs to do to keep his car, you know, without not being bitten by the wall.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, Stefanko's got that experience. He knows how to win races. Of course, he's been there before. He's a champion, as somebody was peeling off into the pits there. Somebody who is now a lap down, thanks to Martin Stefanko, who, again, is continuing in the lead of the race, now about a 6.5 second gap. And yeah, I have to assume that actually both Benzinas, I assume, took some sort of minor repairs or something like that because of the amount of time that they lost. Unsurprisingly, Kostulik's repairs did cost him that 5th place position to Senel. Vizzi is back into the pits. Back into the pits for a second time. I wonder if he forgot to select fuel or something like that, or if he's had some sort of issue.
I think he made a mistake. I think he's made a mistake because before he came in, he lost 12 seconds to Daniel Pastor. So I think he's had an argument with something a little more solid. Could be that he's forgotten to take some fuel on, but I suspect he's made a mistake somewhere.
Well, it's not going to hurt too bad since, of course, Kovacic is still getting his car repaired, still holding on hope. No, he's probably not coming back at this point. But yeah, that's unfortunate because a really good result here for Eric Vizzi could have really tightened up the championship before we head to the penultimate round, actually. Next time out is going to be the second to last race at the Indy Road Course. So looking forward to that. But yeah, Stefanko's still leading the way. He's got Pachada and Pastor not that far behind, within 10 seconds, with just under 22 minutes still to go. Which means, by the way, Senel is now up into 4th position. One more car into the wall in the top 3, and Senel would be on for a podium, which would be a heck of a result. I would say Senel hasn't really been, he hasn't really been somebody that's been a podium contender. Oh, that's not looking good for Thomas Corney.
Nope.
And he would have a great view of that damage with his VR headset. But yeah, Senel is on for a great result here. Corney's coming into the pits, so clearly that damage is significant enough to warrant a trip into the pits for some repairs. But yeah, what a result that was. I mean, even 4th would be a fantastic result for Dexfin.
Wouldn't it just? Yeah, absolutely. I was looking at the front of Thomas Corney's car. Yeah, the two wheels were having an argument of what direction the nose was going to go in. They didn't want to go in the same direction. So he's hit something pretty solid, pretty hard. So again, that may well be another car that is not going to rejoin the track. So that will bring us down to 13 runners. We will see. He may well come back out on circuit. Kujala is back up to 6th. That's a respectable finish for Logitech. But like you said earlier, Justin, that is going to really shuffle up the team championship. Benzina was very close to Logitech before the round began. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if Benzina takes over the championship lead for the teams at the end of this round, if we finish as we are now. However, considering how busy the pit crews have been, they need a raise, because my God, they have been busy. But 2, I mean, anything can happen to anyone. That is certainly what's been highlighted here. I mean, would anyone have betted on Kovacic being in the ball?
Nope. I certainly would not have. I mean, I would have. And that is actually the end for Thomas Courtney. So yeah, you're exactly right. We are down to just 13 drivers remaining in this race.
He may well have had a technical trouble, which may well have caused that particular issue. We'll not, though. That was a great shame. And Stefanko's in again. Interesting. It didn't seem that long ago. Well, it wasn't. It was only 5 minutes ago. Oh, no, never mind. It was, I think he may well have been a little too close to the pit lane entrance, which caused the pit marker to come up. Either that or he sped through without putting a limiter on. That would be a little naughty of him if he did. So, Kostalik and Kujala for 5th position. Kujala being the sole runner for Logitech, as Kovacic has been in the pits for quite a long time, unlikely to return with 19 minutes left of the race. There is Kostalik in the TP Link car doing a pretty grand job in 5th place, holding on to the car. As we've seen repeatedly, that is a very difficult task with the nature of the circuit, with how much the bumps are just throwing these cars everywhere. The battle for second is very much, well, I say resolved as much as it can be at the moment. It's 1.5 seconds, near enough, between Pachada and Pastor. So they may just kind of mind their own business and maybe just back it off to 95% as opposed to 105%, just to see this phase of the race through and maybe resume the battle towards the end of the race. We've seen that before from our competitors, so we'll see if that is what they're going to do. And yeah, so this is the closest battle we've got at the moment, time-wise. So Kujala is still loitering around about, I'd say 1.2 seconds at the moment. That's been where the gap's been for a while. So he's doing a good job. As again, managing the pressure is just as impressive as dealing the pressure at this particular circuit. It's very easy to get distracted, although I wouldn't think Kostalik probably worrying too much by the fact that Kujala is there, but he'll know that that Logitech car is nearby, and that sort of thing plays on your mind, and this is not a track you want distractions at.
No, it really is not. As we see, was that
Kujala coming?
Yeah, that was Kujala pulling off into the pits from 6th position. And I've just been keeping my eye on as well the gap between Vizzy and Lucas Pachada, which I think that's going to actually be a pretty interesting battle. I think Vizzy is probably going to be the quicker of the two drivers, if only because of tire life difference and that sort of thing. But it's going to be very, very difficult to make an overtake, especially on Lucas Pachada. He's a very, very, very capable driver, and he really knows what he's doing out there. So I think that's going to be an easy one, an interesting one to watch, as they get to within about 3 seconds of each other now. So Eric Vizzy really starting to close up. That would be now for 6th position after Kujala has come out of the pits. He's about 12 seconds behind Eric Vizzy now after exiting the pits, but still in the top 10. So Kujala looking to bring home some fantastic points, actually, for the Logitech team, which is huge. Benzina is going to take, at this stage, with both cars still running and less than 16.5 minutes to go, and with the gap that Stefanko has, I think it's safe to say that Benzina is going to take the lead in the team championship here today. But certainly Kujala can, he can have a say in just how big of a gap they take after this race. If he can put in a pretty good race towards the end here, then he can certainly minimize that damage.
Very true, and it's going to be this will be the longest 16 minutes of these drivers'
yes.
lifetimes. I would think this race is probably going to feel like 40 hours. It's going to feel like an endurance race for them, just because of the nature of the track, how much concentration it needs to be able to stay at this kind of pace for the whole race long. Stefanko, again, he's now increased that gap up to about 8 seconds. Nothing for him to immediately worry about, but he does have, again, the reverse problem. Well, he's got traffic right ahead of him. That isn't going to help. But what he's also got to bear in mind is it's very easy to think, oh, I've got plenty of time, I can let off the gas, and boom, you just take your eye off the ball for that very split second. Again, as we mentioned, this track bites, and it bites pretty hard. I think that is that Horan Siratek we've got ahead of it? No, it'd be Vikulchik, surely. We've got ahead of us. I can't quite see from that angle who we've got being borne down on. Vikulchik must be one of them.
I think that was Kostulik lapping someone.
Yeah, you could well be right.
Yeah, I think that might have been Kostulik lapping Vikulchik.
Yeah, I think you're right there. On board now with Stefanko. Now, when we were on board with him before, I just kept wincing at how close he gets to the wall. I mean, yes, this is why he is one of the greats.
Flirting.
I was just like, oh, Oh, yeah, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I would need like 6 feet in between me and the wall, which means I'd be pathetically slow. These guys are, you could put a match on the outside of the wheel and it would strike against the wall. Honestly, they get amazingly close as Kujela brings the Logitech car in. I'm not really surprised we're seeing 2 stops from people, because I would imagine these tyres have been munched. But, you know, we will see. Could be for damage, as just as likely as tyres on this particular circuit. You see Eric Vizzi just bouncing a little bit hard off the apex coming through turn 7, and we have a replay of, oh wow, what a pack we have here. So this will be in the early stage of the race. Oh, so that's Montejo being a little bit more, oh dear. Traffic.
That's what caused that huge gap in the middle of the field at the beginning of the race.
So that was Montejo just being cautious. Sadly, you know, I think it was Horo in the Big Shot car that just got caught out by it. Oh no, moving Stepanovsky, beg your pardon. Oh, Vizzi, what a great run! He's going for it. He's on the longer straight. Is he going to get it done before they get to the braking zone? Oh, lovely! What a move to take 6th position. That was very nicely done into turn 3. Eric Vizzi, very nice. Lucas Brachada was quite kind there. He could have hung that one out, but again, he's playing the sensible game. He doesn't want to risk pushing a little bit too hard, because again, he knows how quick Eric Vizzi is. I mean, by this stage in the season, you know the pecking order realistically. So I think Lucas Brachada was a little kind there, but I don't blame him. Not on this circuit, as we see Stefanko. That's Jan Sikora he's catching up to now, who's having a. Well, he's still going, which in itself is going to give him... That's going to be his best result of the season, I think. Or one of.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, which, I mean, that's no small feat. Again, you know, the reason... Oh, wow, that's very wide. I guess he got the blue flag and just was really, really, really kind about it, but that was... yeah, after you, my lord, you know, kind of. That was the message that I kind of got from that.
I'm not being responsible for the lead battle.
Yeah,
no I'm getting out of that.
Exceedingly polite, you know, overly polite is how I would describe that. Really, really getting out of the way very nicely there, which I'm sure Martin Stefanko really appreciated, though, as he now extends his lead to just about 8 seconds, actually. So you kind of touched on this before, Chris. He's really, you know, he's not like setting the world on fire with his lap times or anything like that. Maybe he's holding back in order to maximize his push to passes at the end to try to get a fastest lap, something like that. But yeah, he's really not building an absolutely enormous gap to David Pichata. He's just going around at his own pace, you know, doing what feels right, what feels comfortable to him. You know, I tell you, every time they use the curbing, I keep thinking, like, what, is the circuit not bumpy enough for you already? Like, it seems like they're just inviting disaster when they go up on the curbing. I would be too scared for that, which is why we're commentators and not drivers.
Yep. Tracks like these, the commentary box seats are even more comfortable than normal. As Lucas Brachada brings his car into the pits again. Oh wow, that's a very unhappy. I think that's Stepanovsky's car on the top of the chart. I've also realised Kajela has been in the pits a while. Have we lost both of the Logitech cars? Oh, because he's been in there a little while now, so that could be a problem. Lucas Brachada's car, I didn't see any obvious damage on it, so I think that's a planned stop as opposed to as Jan Sikora's come in. Well, he can't fall any lower than 11th. He's not, well, unless he stays in there for a very long time, he's not likely to fall behind Thomas Hora either, as we continue to look at Pastor staring at the back of the second Thrustmaster car of Danny Brachada. He's probably fairly fed up with staring at the back of it, but he's, again, that gap is... It's been over a second for a long time now, as we just took under 10 minutes to go. I wonder if Pastor might start to use the back markers to close that gap in again. Because look who we've got up there. I can't quite see which of the back markers that is. That's someone... That's the right way of doing it. Just bleed out of the throttle and stay very much out of the way. Oh, Pastor's close now. Oh, he's very close now. Yeah, he's timed his attack right. He's waited for the... Oh, that was the wrong Thrustmaster
Yep,
car.
that was Lucas, actually.
Oh,
I got fooled as well.
Oh, damn. It caught me out entirely. Is it Stefanko catching somebody else? I think he may have been. Oh, there's the one I thought it was, David Brachada. So that gap has remained... Has that gap gone up? Well, it's about 1.6, so it's about where it has been all day long. Lucas doing the right thing. He was staying out of the way. He could have been a little bit more awkward than that, but he quite rightly obeyed the blue flags. As we see Kostalik now a little bit on his own. Got a bit of a gap, about 7 or so seconds ahead of him to Senor, and 12 behind. There's Lucas Brachada again, with me getting the Thrustmasters the wrong way around, even though one of them's got bright yellow wheels. As Vakulchik has a pretty short stop, comes out in the Dexfin car. There is Jan Secret after his next stop, still in 8th position, so a lovely haul of points, and that's going to really shake up the bottom end of the field as well.
You know, Dexfin is, in fact, one of only a few teams, actually, with 2 cars still in this race. I'd already kind of touched on earlier Senol in 4th position with a great result, but Vakulchik in 9th position, picking up a top 10 finish. You know, that's some solid points as well, too, for Dexfin. So they've still got 2 horses in this race. You know, certainly ESET does not, Big Shock does not, Autoskull Hanob does not, TP Link does not. In fact, you know, neither Logitech is in this race at this point. And yeah, it's less and less likely that Kujela is going to be making his way out. So certainly I think that's probably the end for Logitech at Belle Isle, which is really, really surprising considering how strong they have been all season long. But yeah, it is going to be the Benzina team that takes over the championship lead. Daniel Pastor, you know, as you said, he's really been keeping up with David Pichada, but yeah, I just don't think he has the pace difference, unfortunately. Ooh, did he just hit the barrier there? It was very, very close. I think that might have been the camera angle playing tricks on us, but yeah, I think Pastor just doesn't quite have the pace to attack the Thrustmaster ahead. He's got the pace to keep up with him, but, you know, keeping up with someone and overtaking someone are 2 very different things, as we know. And here at Belle Isle, they're 2 very, very different things. You can see last lap from Stefanko, 14.8. I swear, almost every time that we switch to Stefanko, it says last lap 14.8. I think that guy's just being monster consistent.
Right, well, that is the right Thrustmaster. Oh, again. Denied again because of something going on. So Pastor bringing the Nova Legion car into the pits. Yeah, the only 2 teams with both of their horses still running is Benzina and Dexfin, as far as I can see. As Lucas Brachada in again,
and Thrustmaster.
Thrustmaster. Yeah,
right.
beg your pardon.
Yeah, 3 teams.
Oh, there he is. Look. Yeah, he still doesn't win the Beard Award. I'm sorry. That one's still very firmly in your hands, Mr. Sutton. But look at the focus. Even though he's still, you know, he's now 11.3 in the lead with, you know, with the goings on of everyone around him. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I still remember when we saw that camera at the Monza team event. That was lovely to see when Benzina came home and won that one. I still remember that, yeah, it looked like that Stefanko had all of the emotion and Eric Vizzi was, I don't know whether he was too terrified to do anything. He was just very, very still. But then, yeah, Martin was absolutely overjoyed, and he looks set to occupy that top step of the podium again. 5.5 minutes to go. It's going to be about 4 laps-ish remaining of this race. So they've been going 32 laps already. That's absolutely flown by. David Pichada is in the pits now. So both Thrustmasters are in. Have more horses fallen by the wayside?
Yeah, interesting to see. And what will this mean for Daniel Pastor? Because, of course, if he had a really good in-lap and a really good out-lap, then that could be what puts him up into 2nd position. Because, of course, I was just talking about how similarly paced Pastor was to David Pichada. And this could be his one opportunity, but nope, yep, the Thrustmaster is just making his way out of the pits. Now, I think Pastor is going to be carrying a little bit more speed down towards turn 3. He's going to be picking up a little bit of a slipstream. He's going to look for the inside line, but no, as they get into the braking zone, he is unfortunately not alongside the Thrustmaster. He's going to have to stay behind for the meantime. Of course, this means that Pachada also has slightly fresher tires. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference, but it does make a difference. So he's just going to have that slightly fresher rubber on his car, which could give him the confidence to just really defend that position, because of course he's been defending that position for over 40 minutes now, or however long it's been. It feels like it's been the entire race that he's been doing it, but yeah, I fully expect that he's going to be able to maintain his cool there. But I think Pastor did close up. I don't think the gap was that small prior to the pit stop, so Pastor gave it everything clearly on his in-lap and out-lap, but unfortunately just wasn't quite enough, but it was oh so close.
How frustrating must that be? You are giving everything, blood, sweat, tears, soul, cat, dog, whatever you can throw at it, and you still end up, maybe a little bit closer, but you're still behind who your arch rival has been all race long. Stefanko has been in and out of the pits without barely noticing any difference to his lead. There we go, back down to 10 seconds, as bigger than it was beforehand, I think. So we do indeed only have 10 cars remaining. Half the field are gone. Thrustmaster no longer with 2 horses still running, as Lucas seems to have parked it for the remaining few minutes. That's a bit of a shame. So my original prediction was correct. Benzina and Dexford with both their cars still running. But I mean, fair credit to everybody still running, because Survival has been an absolute mainstay of what's going to be scoring them a considerable amount of points. So what we got, less than 3 minutes to go now. Anything can still happen. There's still a lot of barriers that they have to pass.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it's not over until it's over is the cliche line that everybody says, and I mean there is a reason for it though, because especially at a track like this, you can absolutely you can bin it right at the end and end up losing. So actually, because Stefanko has like lapped people, he can only go so far down. As Eric Vizzi's into the pits with
he's had a problem again.
Yeah, with 2.5 minutes to go. I hope he doesn't have major damage for his sake. Let's see if we're about to get a replay of that. Actually, no, this is actually what happened with Lucas Pachada as he accelerates down towards the right-hander. Oh, goodness me. I wonder if that's a hardware malfunction of some kind, because that is a heavy impact with the barrier. So I wonder if something happened with his computer or his wheel or something like that. Because of course, in real racing you have mechanical failures, and in sim racing you have hardware failures, and that to me looked suspiciously like a hardware failure. That did not look like a user error.
Could have been, but it's also equally likely, again, referring back to the bumps I keep on talking about, but again, it does look like Eric Vizzi is now parked it, so there goes both Benzina still running. Thanks for that, Eric. But they've been running this long with the high level of concentration they will need. You take one corner slightly too deep and you hit a bump, and the car will not slow down anywhere near as much as you need it to, and chomp, the barrier has decided that you are no longer taking part. So it could have been either. I actually think he went in just that little bit too deep, and he's caught a bump at the wrong point and into the wall, and that's the end of his day. So 9 cars. I cannot tell you, have we ever had such a high attrition rate?
Not that I remember. No.
No, nor I. In all the races we've done, and you've done more than I for VGP, so it's one of these. I cannot remember having 11 cars out of the field.
No.
I know we've had smaller grids in the past where 9 cars have finished, but we didn't have as many retirements. So again, shows how difficult this track is, and it's caught some of the best out. Not this man though. He has been absolutely flawless pretty much all race long. 10 seconds to the checkered flag falls, and he's just going to beat the flag as well. So he's got another lap to do. He could have parked it there and come over the line, but not the way.
No way.
Oh, there he is.
No
you
way.
Called it. You called that. That's exactly what he was doing. He was saving up everything for that. For the fastest lap. I think he was anticipating the checkered flag to come out slightly earlier than it did, but I think you called that spot on. He was saving up the push to passes, and well, it's a bonus point as well, so why not? He's gone for broke. But it does look like Martin Stefanko is going to come away with absolute top honours.
Wow. Unbelievable. That really is such a fantastic drive. I have to say, Stefanko probably is my driver of the day. I think Dexfin is my team of the day, purely for being the only team that still has 2 drivers in the race. They're going to finish 4th and 7th now. Vakulchik's now up to 7th after all of these retirements, and I couldn't be happier for them. So well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely is. Stefanko has got a face full of... Is that Kostalik that he's catching up to? So there'll only be... I can't quite see from that camera angle who he's catching up to. That might actually be Siratak. But there it is, your winner here at Belle Isle. I think has he crossed over the line? He has. He's crossed over the line, and there we go. I was thinking he hasn't moved. He's got the fastest lap again. There you go, Martin. You have every right to be happy about that. Your winner here at Belle Isle is the Benzina car of Martin Stefanko. David Pichada is going to take 2nd position as we look at Senol in the Dexter car, who still has a long way to go, actually. Look at the gap between Pastor and Senol, 30 seconds there. Goodness me. It just goes to show how difficult and how trying this has been. But yeah, I absolutely back up your driver of the day prediction there. Stefanko absolutely nailed it. And the Dexwins, pick one for the 2nd driver of the day. That's actually pretty costly. Great effort there for TP Link. Jan Sikora up into 6th.
Wow.
It's going very slowly. Has he run out of... No. Did he run out of fuel? But there it is, your podium 3. Martin Stefanko taking the top honours for Benzina, and David Pichada on 2nd spot for Thrustmaster. Daniel Pastor taking the 3rd spot for Lenovo Legion. Then Senol, Kostalik, Jan Sikora did indeed come home in 6th position. Vakulchik, Siratek, Horror, and Vizzy. Eric Vizzy, what a shame. What could have been for him, but that fastest lap. Oh my goodness, a 14-1 at the end of the race for Martin Stefanko. Great effort. Bravo, well done to all of our finishing drivers. These are the drivers that didn't make it but are still classified in the positions you see. Lucas Machado 11, Gugela 12, Korony 13, Stepanovsky 14, Kovacic 15, Blatic 16, Rigel 17, Mateja 18, Kovarik 19, and Korony at the tail of the field. What a great shame for him.
Unbelievable. You could see how many laps behind they were. It was truly incredible in the championship. This is how things are looking. 36 points now separate Simon Kovacic and not Eric Vizzy. A new challenger approaches in the form of Martin Stefanko after picking up 26 championship points here today, after Simon Kovacic, of course, scores 0, nil points, and that is going to put him into the contention of the championship. Absolutely enormous stuff. We could see Vakulchik as well moving up ahead of Kostulik even, and Thomas Hora. It's been an absolutely fantastic race for him. You can see Jan Sikora moving up into 16th position. He's level on points now with Stepanovsky, so that's a great haul of points for the veteran of VGP. In the team's championship, it is indeed Benzina that takes the lead in the championship, but it is only by 21 points with 2 races still to go. It's another 42 points. Yep, 42 points down to the Pichada brothers in the Thrustmaster team, with Pastor and Rigel for Lenovo Legion. A further 71 points adrift after a difficult day for Rigel, but a good drive for Daniel Pastor. And that is going to do it for today's broadcast. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We will be back next time for round 11 at the Indy Road Course for the penultimate race of the season. Goodbye.